Kill me if you can. Hunting. It's an avid hobby of mine, and it runs in the family. My favorite animals to catch are deer and boars, and I really love the challenge they present. Another reason I hunt is just that camping in the woods is so therapeutic for me. Being in nature is amazing, especially when you're by yourself. Even the people you meet when you're hunting make it a pleasure. I've shared campfires, food, and even hiked with fellow campers I met out here. Now, I wish the story I was about to tell you was about the happy parts about hunting, but it's not. I recently completed some coursework for school in human biology. Even though it was my favorite topic, it was really stressful to accomplish, and I decided to reward myself with a 5-day hike across a large stretch of woods in which I'd heard was fantastic for hunting. I prepped my water filter, my hunting equipment, food, and my pop-up tent, and I drove out to my destination. I was thrilled at the opportunity to unwind and enjoy the woods. After a few hours of driving, I arrived at the location. It was an abandoned parking lot with a ranger's office. It looked like nobody had been there for months. I brushed it off though. In a remote area, things often look abandoned, even with people in them. I started my hike shortly. I found that I was getting very uneasy about the woods I was hiking through. I really can't describe how, but the woods felt, well, sinister. Again, I just chalked it up to the abandoned parking lot. The woods, although slightly sinister, were fantastic. The animals were lively, the sun shone brightly through the trees, and it was untouched to the point that cell phone service was hard to find. Fast forward a few hours, and it was about 8:30 p.m. It was an uneventful day. I hadn't come across anything interesting, no boars, and barely any deer. I started a fire and I cooked some rice and beans, and I decided I was going to do a night hunt, as I'd taken a course on it some few years earlier and I thought I'd test out my skills. I put out the fire, cleaned up my meal, and I began to load my gun, when a chill ran down my spine. In the distance, probably 300 feet away, I saw the silhouette of a person run between some trees. Inside, I panicked. It looked like they were holding something in their right hand. It could have been a knife. When I caught a glimpse of him again, he was facing away from me. I hoped they hadn't noticed. Eventually, the man disappeared in the night, and I stood still, waiting and listening for about an hour to make sure he was gone. Finally, I got my confidence back, and I decided to resume hunting. I made note on my compass and map of where my tent was, and I set off. Eventually, I came upon a deer. I stalked it for just a few minutes, and finally got about 50 meters away from it, and it was right in front of me. I grabbed my tranquilizer, I aimed it, and I heard a twig snap behind me. My eyes darted behind me, and again, I saw the silhouette of the human. The deer ran off. It was just me and him. It was definitely the same guy. "Who's there?" I asked. The man raised the hand, which I could see had a knife in it, towards me, and pointed. That was it. I wasn't dealing with this. I ran. Behind me, I could hear twigs snapping. I was being chased. I looked back real quick and I saw him right there, knife tightly grasped in his right hand. Reaching behind me for my tranquilizer, I realized I'd dropped that behind me too. Crap. I swear the man was laughing while he chased me. I'd never run so fast in my life. I finally lost the guy. I got back to the tent, grabbed my gun, and I hid out in it for about 10 minutes. And then I heard a twig snap again. Immediately, a knife plunged through my tent and began slicing through it as the man yelled, "You thought you could run away? I win." I charged at him though, grabbing both of his arms, trying to disarm him. Fighting wasn't my strong suit, but I'd gotten plenty strong at the gym. I wrestled him to the ground, stood up, and smashed his right wrist with my boots. I heard his bone snap and he let out a scream. I grabbed the knife from his mangled hand and gave him a taste of his own medicine, plunging it straight into his hand. Again, he screamed. Then I punched him in the face as hard as I could, knocking him out and hopefully breaking his fucking nose too. I took this chance to make a bolt for the ranger's office. When I got there, it turned out the man was in his early 20s, and once the adrenaline wore off, it turned out that I'd also been slashed in my right bicep. I was bleeding pretty badly. I went to the hospital while the ranger called for backup. They found and apprehended the semi-conscious freak in the woods. I didn't go hunting after that for about a year and a half, but I've got a different approach to it now. I'm wiser, and I know that sometimes being alone can be dangerous. For all of you out there going camping or hunting, remember, stay safe. Don't think these things can't happen to you.